Close your eyes and breathe. Not to escape the world, but to enter the only world that truly matters, the world within. You've been told to chase, to work harder, to wait. But the truth has never been outside of you. The truth is this: you already have it. You must dare to live in the end, to feel right now as though everything you desire is done. Imagine walking through your dream home, opening your dream bank account, speaking with confidence because you know, not hope, know that it is yours. The world will ask you for proof, but you are not moved by the world. You move the world. And you do it with your assumption, you do it with your inner speech, you do it by embodying the end now. Do not wait, do not beg, do not wonder how. These are distractions of the senses. Stay faithful to the unseen. Your assumption, once persisted in, must harden into fact. There is no other way. You are not meant to struggle for scraps. You are meant to remember. Remember who you are. Remember that consciousness is the only reality. You are not a beggar asking for favor. You are a creator calling forth what has always been yours. Let the poor version of you die. Let the worried version be buried. Step into the image of the one who already received. Smile like them, think like them, walk like them, because you are them. The money you seek is not in the future, it is now, locked in a state you have not yet dared to occupy. So occupy it. Not with doubt, not with fear, but with certainty, with peace. Say to yourself, it is done. I am already there, because the moment you assume the end, everything in creation bows to make it so. Live in the end. Dwell in the feeling of wealth. The millions are already yours. Accept it, feel it, be it, and watch the world rearrange itself for you. What you dare to imagine is already true becomes the seed of your reality. Everything you see, touch, and experience in your physical world is merely a shadow cast by the light of your inner assumptions. If you can truly see something in your mind and feel it to be real in your heart, you have already planted the seed for its arrival. That feeling, that knowing, is the beginning of its manifestation. You must begin to understand that the end is not some distant place you work your way toward. The end is a state, a feeling that you step into with your imagination. It's a mental home you decide to live in long before the outer world reflects it. You are not waiting for the millions to appear in your bank account to feel secure, free, or abundant. You feel that way now, and the world follows your lead. When you live in the end, you live from the place where the desire has already been fulfilled. You speak as if it's already done. You think like someone who already has it. You make choices from a place of possession, not lack. And when you do that consistently with emotional conviction and quiet confidence, you shift your identity. There is no power in wishing. There is no transformation in trying. But there is creative force in assuming. When you assume the wish fulfilled, when you boldly claim it as yours, you collapse time. The gap between what you want and what you have begins to dissolve because you're no longer separate from it. You've merged with it in consciousness. That's the key. Think of the seed. You don't dig it up every day to see if it's growing. You trust the process. You water it with belief. You give it sunlight through emotion. You protect it from doubt and fear. Your inner world must be treated the same. You must protect your mental seed, your assumption of the end, from any story or voice that says not yet or not for me. You are not convincing the world of your worthiness. You are convincing yourself. You are not proving anything to anyone else. You are simply remembering your power to claim and create. Once you truly accept the end as real, your work is not to go out and hustle, but to remain loyal to that end. Loyalty to the end state is the true discipline. That's faith, not blind hope, but inner certainty. Even if nothing changes on the outside immediately, you must hold fast to the end. If the bank balance looks the same, if your circumstances still scream lack, you do not react, you respond with silence. You respond by going inward and saying, I know who I am, I know what I've accepted, and I will live from that end until the outer world has no choice but to conform. The millions are already yours, not because someone will give them to you, but because you've claimed them within. The end is already done. The moment you see it, feel it, and live from it, you've entered the timeline where it must appear. That is the truth few understand. The end is not the destination. It is the origin. The beginning of all creation starts where you dare to mentally live. Live there and stay there. Your inner world is not a fantasy. It is the foundation upon which everything in your external life is built. It is not a place you escape to. It is the place you create from. The world you see around you is nothing more than a reflection of what you've accepted within yourself. Imagination is not just for children or artists. It is the sacred faculty through which we shape reality. When you understand this, you stop looking at your current circumstances as permanent. You realize they are just the residue of past assumptions. And if you want to change your life, you must first change your inner script. The path to wealth is not paved by effort alone. It is carved through consciousness. When you imagine yourself wealthy, and not just lightly wish for it, but deeply assume it, you begin to build a bridge from where you are to where you belong. This bridge is invisible at first. It is built through your thoughts, your self-talk, your feelings, and the scenes you replay in your mind when no one is watching. Every moment you spend dwelling in the assumption of abundance, you are taking a step across that bridge. You are drawing the unseen into form. Many make the mistake of treating imagination as something separate from real life. But everything real began first as an idea, as a vision, as a state of mind. The phone in your hand, the car you drive, the home you live in, they all began in someone's imagination. You must understand that what you imagine with belief is more real than what you see without it. Imagination is not the escape, it is the access point to creation. The moment you assume wealth as your truth, not just desire it, but claim it, you activate a path. It may not reveal itself all at once, but it begins to unfold in ways your rational mind cannot predict. New ideas come to you, opportunities arise, people appear. But all of it is rooted in the original inner assumption. Without that, nothing external can last. That's why many who gain money without changing their self-concept quickly lose it. They never truly imagined themselves as wealthy. They only visited the state. You must live in it. Imagination must be persistent. A few moments here and there will not build a bridge. You must live in that state daily. In quiet moments, in busy moments, in times of fear, you must return to the inner image of the life you are creating. See it clearly, feel it deeply, assume it fully. That is how the bridge becomes visible. That is how the path reveals itself. You are not born to follow someone else's path, you are born to create your own. And imagination is the tool. If you want millions, see yourself as someone who already has them. Don't wait for the world to give you permission. Your assumption is the permission. Your inner world is the blueprint, and you are the architect. Build something worthy, build something aligned with who you truly are. And never forget, every great thing you will ever accomplish begins not in effort, but in imagination. Emotion is the power behind manifestation. Thought alone can conceive the idea, but it is feeling that brings it to life. When you merely think of something you want, it stays abstract, far away and separate from you. But the moment you begin to feel it, truly feel the joy, relief, and satisfaction of already having it, you bring that desire into alignment with your inner self. That's when the transformation begins. Because in the realm of creation, feeling is the secret ingredient. Desire is not fulfilled by force. It's fulfilled by assuming the feeling of the wish already accomplished. That means you don't wait for the outer world to give you permission to feel wealthy, loved, or successful. You choose the feeling now before the evidence shows up. Why? Because feeling is not a reaction. It is a signal. And when you signal that something is already yours emotionally, the universe must respond accordingly. That is how your inner state governs your outer experience. The world reflects not what you want, but what you feel to be true. That's why so many chase their desires but never reach them. They think about them constantly but feel unworthy, anxious, or doubtful. Their dominant emotion contradicts their imagined goal. You must reverse this. You must feel as if it is already yours. You must embody the joy, the peace, the power that would naturally flow through you if your dream were fulfilled right now. And here's the beautiful secret. You already know how to do this. Think of a memory that makes you smile. Just remembering it can shift your entire mood. That proves you have the power to bring an emotional state into the present, even if the moment is not physically happening now. That same power applies to your desires. Feel the thrill of the first deposit hitting your account. Imagine the pride of knowing you created it. Sense the calm that comes from absolute financial security. When those emotions become real within you, even for a few minutes a day, you begin to call forth the future you. Don't be discouraged if the outer world doesn't change right away. That is only the echo of your past state. Your job is not to react to what is. It is to remain loyal to what you have already claimed inside. Emotions are energy. The more often you return to the feeling of the wish fulfilled, the more your state becomes permanent. And a permanent state must manifest in form. This is why imagination without emotion lacks power. You cannot casually daydream your way into a new life. You must engage the heart. Let the vision stir something inside you. Let it move you to tears. Let it excite you, calm you, heal you. The more real it feels within, the sooner it appears without. Remember, the version of you who already has what you want is not waiting for it. They are living in gratitude, joy, and peace. Align with that version. Feel what they feel. Let those feelings become your new normal. Because once your emotional state shifts, your reality has no choice but to follow. Emotion seals the desire. Feeling is the fire. And once it is lit, nothing can stop its unfolding. One of the greatest secrets to creating your desired reality is this: ignore the middle. Most people get caught in the trap of asking how. How will it happen? How will the money come? How will the right people show up? How will the circumstances shift? But the truth is, the how is never your job. Your only task is to assume the end, to dwell in the state where your desire is already fulfilled. Everything in between, the middle, is orchestrated by forces far beyond your logical understanding. The moment you ask how, you shift out of faith and into doubt. You begin to question, analyze, and micromanage the universe. But you are not meant to build a bridge, you are meant to walk it. And that bridge appears only when you remain loyal to the end result. Think of the end as a destination you've already arrived at in your mind. You live from that place, you feel from that place, you think, speak, and move from that place. When that becomes your inner reality, life must mirror it. If you plant a seed, you do not dig it up each day to see how it's growing. You trust the process. The same principle applies to manifestation. Once you've impressed the end upon your subconscious, once you've emotionally accepted it, you must let go of the mechanics. You must give the unseen the space to work. The moment you obsess over timing, methods, or specific people, you interfere with the process. You introduce resistance, and resistance delays the result. When you truly dwell in the end, the middle begins to take care of itself. People, events, conversations, ideas, they all begin to rearrange in perfect sequence. What appears to be coincidence is actually the outpicturing of your assumed reality. But this movement only begins when your inner state is fixed. You don't need to see how it's working. You only need to remain unwavering in the knowing that it is working. This is not about passivity. It's about spiritual confidence. You still take action, but it is inspired action. It's not forced, frantic, or desperate. It flows from the state you're in. And when you're in the state of already having, your actions carry power. They are guided, supported, and divinely timed. That kind of action feels effortless because it is aligned. The middle will often look messy. It may even seem like things are going in the opposite direction. But that is not your cue to panic. It is your cue to deepen your faith. When you react to the middle, you reinforce the old state. But when you ignore the noise and return to the feeling of the end, you stay aligned with your true path. Think of your desire as already done. See it, feel it, live from it. Let that be your dominant truth. And whenever your mind drifts to the how, gently bring it back to the end. Say to yourself, that is not my concern. My work is already done. Reality reshapes itself around your assumption. And the more you dwell in the end, the faster the middle rearranges to bring it into view. So stay there, feel it now, trust that the middle is moving even when you cannot see it, because it always is. Persistence is the true test of belief. Anyone can hold a vision for a moment, feel abundance for a few minutes, or imagine success when everything is going well. But the real power lies in your ability to persist, especially when the outer world shows no signs of change. When lack, delay, or resistance appear, it's not a signal to give up. It's an invitation to go deeper within and strengthen your assumption. In truth, you are, because what you hold in consciousness, consistently, faithfully, and without compromise, must outpicture itself in the world. The outer world is always a delayed reflection. It echoes back to you the state you've lived in. So when you begin to change your inner state, when you start imagining wealth, feeling secure, and assuming success, it might take time for reality to catch up. During this time, the greatest temptation is to look around and say, nothing's working. But the moment you do that, you shift back to the old state, the one you're trying to transcend. You must remember, the truth is not what you see, the truth is what you've accepted within. Sight is deceptive when you are in transition. It will show you remnants of your past thoughts and emotions, not your current assumption. That's why you must persist even when it seems foolish. You must ignore appearances, deny the evidence of the senses, and boldly declare that your desire is already yours. Persistence is not about repetition alone. It's about unwavering identity. You don't just repeat affirmations, you become the person who already has what they want. You walk like them, talk like them, think like them, and most importantly, feel like them. When you do this long enough, the outer world must conform. It has no choice. The law is absolute. What you consistently assume and embody within must be expressed without. The challenge is not the absence of results, it's the presence of doubt. Doubt creeps in when time passes, when circumstances worsen, when logic tries to take control. But your job is not to argue with doubt or prove anything to it. Your job is to continue in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Let others question, let circumstances shift, let noise rise, but stay firm in the knowing that your inner world is the cause and the outer is merely the effect. This is the persistence that moves mountains. Not physical effort, but mental loyalty. Loyalty to your vision, to your assumption, to your chosen reality, even when there is no evidence, no confirmation, no progress. You persist. because you understand that reality always lags behind consciousness, and the longer you hold a new state, the more pressure you apply to the old reality, until it finally breaks and gives way to the new. You are not hoping, you are not wishing, you are knowing. And that knowing, when held with feeling and certainty, will rearrange the very fabric of your world. So stand firm, don't waver, remain unmoved by appearances. Persist in the end, persist in the inner truth, because what you persist in feeling must become what you eventually see. That is the law. Reality doesn't respond to what you wish for, it responds to who you are being. This is the greatest shift a person can make, moving from hoping to embodying. Your life is not shaped by your desires alone, but by the identity you occupy. If you want to change your world, you must first change how you see yourself, because reality is a mirror. It does not show you what you want, it reflects what you are. You can say all the affirmations you want, but if deep down you still see yourself as broke, struggling, or undeserving, your world will mirror that identity back to you. On the other hand, if you adopt the self-imagination of someone who is already wealthy, if you think like them, feel like them, and move like them, then your reality must shift to match it. It's not magic, it's law. This is not about pretending or putting on a show for others. It's about embodying a truth within yourself so deeply that it becomes second nature. You're not trying to become someone else. You're stepping into the version of you that already exists in potential. That version is wealthy, confident, generous, calm, and secure. And the only thing separating you from that version is your current self-image. Your inner identity is the thermostat of your life. It sets the limit on what you allow yourself to receive. You may want millions, but if your identity is still shaped by scarcity, you'll sabotage the very opportunities that could lead you to wealth. That's why changing your identity is the most powerful thing you can do. The moment you decide, this is who I am now, you begin to attract everything that aligns with that decision. This doesn't mean forcing or faking, it means choosing. Every day you choose who you are. You choose how you feel. You choose what thoughts you nurture. And every one of those choices builds or reinforces your identity. The key is consistency. You cannot declare yourself wealthy for 5 minutes and then spend the rest of the day worrying about bills. You must remain faithful to the identity you've chosen, even when the outer world gives you no reason to. Think of your identity as the script you live by. If you keep reading the old script, the one that says you're behind, unlucky, or limited, your life will continue to play out accordingly. But the moment you write a new script and live by it, everything changes. And it starts by seeing yourself differently. Look in the mirror and see the version of you who already has what you desire. Speak as them, dress as them, think as them, feel as them. Do not wait for the evidence. The evidence comes after the identity is solidified, not before. Your job is not to force change, it's to become the change. Reality simply follows. That's how it works. Reality is obedient, but it obeys your dominant state, not your occasional wish. So hold the identity, live from it, trust it, and soon you'll see that your world has no choice but to reflect the truth you've embodied all along. You are not here to chase wealth, but to awaken to it. The millions you desire are not in the distance, they are within, waiting for you to claim them. You do not manifest by force or desperation, but by living in the end, creating through imagination, feeling the reality of your desires, ignoring the how, persisting despite what you see, and stepping fully into the identity of the one who already has it all. When you master these inner laws, the outer world will bend to reflect your truth. You are never lacking, only waiting to remember your power. Thank you for listening. Stay faithful to the vision, stay loyal to the end, and remember, it's already yours. There is a truth hidden from the eyes of the world, yet revealed to the heart that seeks in silence. A miracle is not somewhere far off. It is not behind time. It is not behind circumstance. It waits not in the future, but in the stillness of your own imagination. You were never meant to chase after blessings. You were meant to assume them. You were never meant to beg for a change. You were meant to become it. Let me tell you this. The miracle is waiting on you to believe it already happened. The moment you dare to feel that it is done, that moment the heavens begin to move on your behalf. Creation is not trying to figure you out. It already knows who you are. And when you know who you are, the miraculous becomes ordinary. Stop looking out there for a sign. The sign is within, the feeling, the peace, the knowing. That is the real miracle. You don't need more proof. You need more faith in the proof already placed inside you. You must close your eyes to the world and open your soul to the unseen. Ask yourself, if it were already mine, how would I feel? And then feel it, dwell in it, sleep in it, walk in it. The world will catch up with what you've already accepted in your inner world. Do not mistake the silence for a delay. The miracle is not slow. You are simply being brought into alignment. The old you must fall away to make room for the new reality. You are not being tested, you are being transformed. Do not concern yourself with how it will come. That is not your work. Your work is to believe, to know, to live now as if it already were. And when you do, the miracle will no longer be waiting, it will be here. Not as something you chased, but something you became. So walk boldly. Declare the end from the beginning. Rest in the knowing that what you have imagined is real. A miracle is waiting, but not for time to pass. It waits for you to wake up and say, I am already what I seek. And so it is. The miracle is not coming, it is already here, but not in the way the world has taught you to perceive. You have been conditioned to look for signs in the external, to wait for something tangible to prove that change has arrived. Yet the truth is far more profound. Miracles do not start outside of you. They begin in the stillness of your inner world, in the invisible chamber of imagination and faith. There is a sacred law that governs all manifestation, and it declares this: what you see within will soon be seen without. You are not a beggar on the doorstep of fate. You are the very gate through which the miracle enters this world. You carry it not in your hands, but in your awareness. You are not waiting on a blessing to arrive. The blessing is waiting on you to recognize it already exists. To the world, it seems irrational to believe in what cannot be seen. But the unseen is not unreal. It is simply not yet visible to the physical eye. The moment you behold your desire in consciousness, truly behold it with emotion and certainty, it begins to crystallize into form. Just as a seed must be planted in darkness before it grows into a tree, so must your vision be planted in the garden of your imagination. This is where most falter. They believe only what they see, but you must reverse this. You must see only what you believe. You must train yourself to look not at the facts, but at the truth. Facts are temporary, but truth is eternal. And the truth is that you are already one with that which you seek. There is no separation, only a refusal to recognize the unity. Stop saying, one day it will happen. Begin to say, it is happening now, not because you are lying to yourself, but because you are awakening to a greater reality that precedes the physical. The miracle is not a moment in time, it is a state of being. It is not something God is planning to do for you, it is something that already is, awaiting your consent. You must live inwardly from the end. You must walk in the assumption that it is already yours. Do not ask, where is it? That question will only keep you bound to its absence. Instead, declare, I have it. not with desperation but with confidence. The same confidence you feel when you know the sun will rise again tomorrow, so must you feel about the fulfillment of your vision. Everything around you is a reflection. If you cannot see the miracle in your life yet, it does not mean it isn't there. It means you have not yet become it in consciousness. Change your inner conversation, replace the doubts with declarations, replace the fears with faith. Sit quietly and see yourself already in possession of that which you desire. Feel it until it becomes more real than the current moment. That is how you shift timelines. That is how you call forth the unseen. This world was never designed to bring you miracles. You were designed to bring them into the world. And when you finally stop waiting for life to prove it and start proving it within yourself, life will have no choice but to yield. The outer is always obedient to the inner. The miracle is not delayed, it is not denied, it is simply veiled behind your current state of consciousness. Rise above doubt, enter the realm of certainty, and know that what you dare to behold within, the universe must reveal without. It is done the moment you believe it is. Not later, not after proof, but now. The miracle is here. Let the world reflect what you now know to be true. Your assumption is not just a thought. It is the seed of the supernatural. It is the beginning of the unseen becoming seen, of the invisible taking form. Everything that appears in your world today began with an inner acceptance of its possibility, whether you knew it or not. This is the secret. Few understand you are not observing life. You are creating it by what you assume to be true. When you assume a thing to be, you do not hope for it, wish for it, or chase after it. You take it as fact, even before the facts support it. This inner certainty, this quiet knowing, is what activates the miraculous. You are not trying to make something happen. You are stepping into the state where it has already happened. That is the key. Miracles do not respond to need, they respond to belief. Many people pray from a place of fear, speak affirmations while holding doubt, or visualize their desires while secretly feeling the lack of them. But desperation cannot bring the supernatural, it only magnifies the absence. The universe does not answer what you say, it answers the vibration of your assumption. To assume the state of the wish fulfilled means you begin to walk, talk, think, feel, and rest as though what you ask for is already yours. This is not pretending, this is creation. There is no room for begging in this process. There is no room for hoping something will come if you do enough, pray enough, wait long enough. You assume it now. You believe that what you desire is already a reality in the invisible and that your assumption is the path by which it comes into visibility. You must ask yourself, if I already had this, how would I feel? And then you live from that feeling. That feeling becomes the soil. Your assumption is the seed, and together they produce the supernatural harvest. The world around you cannot help but reflect back your inner convictions. If you believe you are unloved, even if love knocks on your door, you will not see it. If you believe success is hard, even easy opportunities will slip through your fingers. But if you believe all things are working for you, if you assume the best in every situation, then even what seems like failure will turn to favor. You are never waiting on the miracle. The miracle is waiting on you to assume it already exists. This assumption must be made boldly, without evidence, without external confirmation. It must be made in silence, in solitude, in faith. You don't need to explain your belief to anyone. You don't need others to validate your vision. You simply live from it. Day by day, moment by moment, until the unseen bows to your inner reality. And yes, the world may not shift immediately, but that does not mean it isn't shifting. The seed takes time to break through the soil, but the moment it was planted, the process began. The moment you assumed it, the supernatural was set in motion. Don't dig up your seed with doubt. Don't water it with worry, guard it with gratitude, feed it with imagination. See yourself already healed, already chosen, already wealthy, already free. Speak not from the problem, but from the solution. This is not delusion. It is divine alignment. When you learn to assume the state of the wish fulfilled, you step into the creative power that shapes all reality. You stop waiting for signs and become the sign. You stop seeking and start embodying. The miracle answers belief, always, never desperation. So let your assumption be holy. Let it be steady. Let it be unshakable. For what you assume with feeling, the universe must fulfill. You are not waiting for proof. You are living as proof. There is an invisible realm that surrounds and penetrates all things. A dimension not accessed by the senses but by awareness. This realm does not respond to how hard you try or how much you strive. It is not moved by your noise, your struggle, or your performance. It responds only to inner conviction, the quiet, unwavering belief that what you have accepted within is already done. This is the divine mystery of creation. All things are first formed in the unseen. Every outcome, every breakthrough, every answered prayer originates in the invisible, shaped not by external action, but by the clarity and depth of your assumption. The outer is merely the echo of the inner. And so when the world feels unmovable, when your efforts seem fruitless, it is not because life is ignoring you, it is because you are trying to do outwardly what must first be done inwardly. You must come to understand that the unseen world is intelligent and responsive. It mirrors the state you hold most consistently within yourself. If you carry doubt, even your greatest efforts will yield minimal results. But if you carry faith, not the kind that trembles, but the kind that rests, then the invisible realm moves swiftly on your behalf. It is not effort that changes things, it is certainty. The moment you are inwardly convinced, reality begins to shift. You may not see the change immediately, you may not hear the thunder roll or feel the earth tremble, but something has been set in motion, quietly and decisively, because belief has spoken louder than effort ever could. When you truly know something is yours, you stop chasing it. You stop begging. You stop bargaining. You simply receive. That is the posture of the miraculous. You must learn to cultivate this inner conviction, to walk by imagination and not by sight. The eyes will deceive you, the facts will try to shake you, but what is seen is temporary and what is unseen is eternal. Conviction lives in that eternal space. It does not waver with changing conditions. It does not rise and fall with emotions. It is still like a mountain, unmoved by the wind. This is why some people with little effort manifest great things, while others strive endlessly and receive nothing. The former have mastered the art of assumption. They have understood that creation is spiritual before it is physical. They do not attempt to manipulate the outer world. Instead, they enter the inner chamber, close the door, and dwell in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. From this state, they think, speak, and act, not to achieve, but because it is already achieved. They do not do to get, they do because they know. Their movement is not from lack, but from abundance. They do not push, they allow. So ask yourself, what would I believe if I knew it could not fail? What would I feel if I was already there? What would I drop from my life if I no longer needed to try so hard? The moment you answer these questions honestly, the path becomes clear. Not because it appears before you, but because it awakens within you. The invisible realm is always waiting for your conviction. It listens for the tone of your inner voice. Not your words, but your vibration. Not your need, but your knowing. When your inner world becomes certain, your outer world must obey. This is law, this is truth, this is the power you've always held, but perhaps forgotten. No more forcing, no more proving, no more waiting for signs. The sign is your belief. Dwell in it. Embody it. Let it become more real than the world around you. And the invisible will become visible. Let go of the how. Creation is finished. You were never meant to carry the weight of figuring it all out. You were never asked to design the route your miracle must take to reach you. That is not your role. Your task is simple: to accept, to assume, to believe that what you desire is already yours. The rest is not yours to worry about. Creation is not a process of building from scratch. It is not about assembling parts, solving puzzles, or grinding your way forward. Creation is already complete. Everything you will ever desire already exists in the unseen. The moment you imagine it, the moment you feel the truth of it within, it is done. Your work is to align yourself with that reality, not to engineer it. The moment you ask, it is given, not in some future time, not once you earn it, not when everything aligns, but now. The only reason you do not see it yet is because your mind still holds on to the mechanics. You still ask, how will it come? Who will help me? When will it happen? But these questions come from doubt. They come from a belief that things are still unfinished, still out of reach. Let this be clear. The miracle knows its way to you. You do not have to guide it. You do not have to chase it. You do not even have to understand it. What you call the miracle has a wisdom of its own. It follows a current far more intelligent than your conscious planning. It moves through unseen channels, through circumstances, people, and moments you could never predict. It weaves through time with perfect timing, never early, never late. It arrives exactly when your inner world is aligned with its frequency. But to receive, you must release. You must let go of control. The one who tries to control the how is declaring that they do not trust the process. And what you do not trust, you delay. You block what you cling to, you resist what you try to force. This is why surrender is not weakness, it is power. It is the posture of one who knows. One who knows that creation is already complete, has no need to worry. They rest. They walk in peace. They speak with confidence. They do not hustle. They do not panic. They trust the unfolding. When you live from the end, when you embody the state of the wish fulfilled, you no longer obsess over the journey. You know it will happen because it already has. You felt it. You saw it within. You believed it when no one else could. And now it must become real in your outer world. So stop checking the clock. Stop analyzing every moment to see if things are working. Stop measuring your progress by what your eyes see. The outer world is always the last to know. The change happens first in silence, in imagination, in the stillness of your conviction. By the time it shows up, it has already been yours for some time. Let your inner vision be enough. Let your assumption be the evidence. Let your feeling be the fulfillment. And walk as though it's done, speak as though it's done, live as though it's done. The miracle does not need your strategy. It does not need your struggle. It needs only your belief. Not the loud, desperate belief that tries to make something happen, but the quiet, settled knowing that it already has. It is not your concern. It never was. Your only job is to stay in the state of the fulfilled desire and let the universe deliver it in its own perfect, surprising, effortless way. The secret is not in what you say, but in what you feel. Not in the words you repeat, nor in the rituals you perform, but in the deep inner conviction that your desire is already realized. The feeling of the wish fulfilled is the gateway. It is the open door through which all miracles walk. To feel the end as now is to transcend time. It is to stop waiting, hoping, or striving, and to begin living in the vibration of your desire right here in this moment. This is the space where fear cannot enter, because fear lives only in the gap between what you want and what you think you lack. But when you close that gap, when you become one with the state of already having, it is no longer a desire you chase, but a reality you claim. You are not manifesting by effort, you are manifesting by assumption. You are not creating from emptiness, you are choosing from completion. And that choice happens in feeling. Not the feeling of desperation, not the feeling of lack, but the serene, natural, confident feeling of, this is who I am now. Think of a time when something wonderful already happened. Maybe a goal you achieved, a love you found, or a gift you received. Do you remember how natural it felt once it was yours? How there was no resistance, no fear, no begging, just gratitude, just calm, just the quiet, peaceful awareness of, yes, of course, this belongs to me. That's the energy of the wish fulfilled. It's not loud, it's not frantic, it doesn't beg or plead or announce itself to the world. It is internal, private, powerful, a quiet joy that lives in your chest before anything ever arrives. Many people wait to feel it after they receive the thing. They think, I'll feel confident when the money comes. I'll feel loved when the relationship arrives. I'll feel free when the opportunity opens. But they wait in vain. Because life does not deliver to those who wait, it delivers to those who already are. If you want to receive the miracle, you must first become the version of yourself who already has it. What does that version feel? What does that version think, say, do? What energy do they carry in a room? That is your access point. The door does not open from the outside, it opens from within. And it opens by feeling. You cannot fake this feeling, you cannot rush it. You must enter into it sincerely, gently, with imagination. And once you do, once you dwell in that inner state of fulfillment long enough, the world begins to mirror it. People respond differently. Doors open, ideas come, events align. But they are all responses, not causes. The cause is always your inner world. So stop trying to make it happen. Start letting it happen by aligning with the version of you who is already living it. Not through fantasy, but through conviction. You are not pretending, you are remembering, you are calling back to yourself the truth that already exists in the unseen. You do not need to know when or how it will come. That is not your part. Your part is to hold the feeling, to feel rich before the money arrives, to feel loved before the person shows up, to feel chosen, supported, healed before the world confirms it. That's the test, and also the miracle. The moment you stop needing evidence to believe and instead let your belief become the evidence, the invisible moves. The feeling becomes flesh. The desire takes form because you have become its host. You have made space for it within. Miracles are not summoned through fear. They are welcomed through faith. Not the kind of faith that waits, but the kind that walks forward as if, because it knows, it trusts, it feels the truth, even when the world is still silent. So feel the end as now, not tomorrow, not someday, now, because that's where your miracle lives. Time is not your enemy, it is your mirror. What you call waiting is not a punishment. It is not a delay in the delivery of your miracle. It is a space of alignment, a sacred pause where your inner world is being brought into harmony with the reality you have claimed. You are not being tested, you are being prepared. The illusion of time tricks many into believing that their desire is far away or worse, unreachable. But the truth is, the moment you imagined it, the moment you felt it as real within, it was already done. There is no distance between you and the thing you seek except the illusion your senses present. You do not wait for the miracle to come, you wait for yourself to align with it. And that shift happens within. To the eyes of the world, time may pass, days, weeks, even years. But to the soul, there is only now, the eternal present, where all possibilities live. When you choose to feel your desire is already fulfilled, regardless of the outer circumstances, you collapse the illusion of time, you step out of the line of waiting, and into the frequency of receiving. This is why so many people feel frustrated in the process of creation. They believe the miracle is withheld or lost or blocked. But nothing is ever withheld, nothing is ever lost. What appears as delay is simply misalignment. It is life's way of saying you are not yet the version of yourself who can sustain this miracle. And that is not rejection. It is love, protection, a divine patience that ensures you are not crushed by what you receive too soon. So when you find yourself in the space between the seed and the bloom, do not despair. Do not doubt. Use that space wisely. Fill it with faith. Fill it with vision. Prepare your inner world to match the outer world you've asked for. Because the moment you are truly ready, truly surrendered, truly aligned, it arrives effortlessly. Time bends to your inner state. It speeds up or slows down depending on the energy you hold. That is why one person may wait a lifetime for what another receives in a week. It is not chance. It is not luck. It is inner readiness. Inner conviction. When you become the embodiment of the wish fulfilled, time no longer matters. You live from the end, and the end becomes your beginning. Stop asking, when will it come? That question signals separation. Instead, ask, who must I become to match this desire? That question carries power. That question opens portals. You are not here to wait in agony. You are here to awaken in faith, to walk in confidence, to know that the desire was placed in your heart not to torment you, but to reveal to you what already exists in the unseen. The vision would not visit you if it did not already belong to you. Treat each moment of waiting not as time wasted, but as time invested in alignment. Time to train your mind, to anchor your heart, to deepen your belief. The miracle is not getting ready for you. It is ready. You are getting ready for it. Do not curse the pause. Bless it. Let it make you stronger, wiser, softer, and clearer. Let it refine your focus. Let it strip away every doubt that clings to your soul, because when you are stripped bare of fear and clothed only in faith, what you call the miracle will come rushing in, not as a surprise, but as something long known, long seen, long felt. You will not be shocked. You will simply smile, because you always knew time is an illusion, and your miracle has never been late. The miracle was never somewhere out there. It was always within you, waiting to be seen, felt, believed. Not earned through effort, but received through alignment. The unseen moves when you move in consciousness. When you assume the state, when you feel the end. When you walk not by sight, but by inner conviction. The world must conform. You were not meant to chase or beg, but to remember and embody. What you call waiting is just a gentle unfolding, a preparation. And when you are still enough, quiet enough, surrendered enough, you will see there was no delay, only divine timing. No distance, only perception. Your assumption is the seed, your feeling is the soil, and your faith is the light that brings it all to bloom. So trust it, live it, be it, and let the miracle meet you in the now. Thank you for listening. Stay in the feeling, because it's already yours. There is a moment in your life where you come to a realization that shakes you awake. Nothing outside of you has ever truly held the power. The outer world is slow to change because it is only a shadow. The substance is within you. And when you move within, when you shift your focus from the problem to the state of already having the solution, the problem begins to dissolve. not because you struggled with it, not because you changed states. The moment you assume a new reality inwardly, the world must conform. Why? Because the world cannot resist the command of a mind that is loyal to its vision. There is no greater secret. You do not need to hustle. You do not need to beg. You do not need to convince. You only need to become. If you want love, assume you are already deeply loved. If you want wealth, assume you are already wealthy beyond measure. If you want peace, assume you are already at peace, unshaken and free. This is the step that changes everything, not because the world shifts first, but because you shift first. And as you shift, everything around you must obey. This is not superstition, this is law. So I ask you now, not to seek, but to dwell in the state of already having. Live from it. Let your conversations flow from it. Let your feelings arise from it. Let your decisions echo it. And soon the world will catch up to what you've already claimed in silence. Everything begins in the imagination. Your inner world creates your outer world. What you accept as true within becomes the experience you encounter without. This is not poetic sentiment, it is the very structure of reality itself. The world you walk in, the circumstances you face, the relationships you attract, the money you hold, the health you experience, all of it has its roots not in the physical, but in the unseen, in the depths of your inner consciousness. You are always imagining even when you do not realize it. Your inner conversations, the quiet self-talk you carry throughout the day are imaginal acts. The feelings you repeatedly return to, whether joy, fear, doubt, or confidence, are states of being that carve out your tomorrow, and the world, ever faithful, simply reflects that inner condition. It mirrors back to you the assumptions you have clothed yourself in. When you accept something is true inwardly, the outer world begins to mold itself to match it. It must. Reality cannot contradict the dominant state of your consciousness. If you inwardly accept that you are unloved, overlooked, or unworthy, life will bring you experiences that support that belief. Not because the world is cruel, but because the world is obedient. It is echoing back to you the tone you have struck within. Conversely, if you dare to accept within that you are already loved, chosen, abundant, and whole, before any outer proof exists, the world will in time rearrange itself to validate that inner truth. This is why the imagination is sacred. It is not childish or false. It is the birthplace of every event that will ever unfold in your life. The imagination is the divine faculty through which creation happens. It is your workshop of reality. And yet, so many dismiss it. They continue to believe that they must wait for outer evidence to feel differently, when in truth, if they felt differently now, the outer evidence would follow. To imagine is to choose, and every time you choose a thought, you choose a future. Every time you choose to feel lack, you are investing in a future where lack grows. Every time you choose to feel full, whole, and certain, you are investing in a future that cannot help but mirror that fullness. You are not at the mercy of fate, you are the architect. The power was never outside you. It was always in your ability to feel and believe within. The key is this: you do not need physical proof to accept something as true. All you need is the willingness to imagine it so and feel it real. That is the beginning of transformation. When you saturate your mind with a new truth, when you repeatedly return to it in thought and dwell in it as if it were already fact, you begin to shift your inner state. And as your state changes, your world must follow. You have done this already, unknowingly. Every situation you face now, good or bad, is the result of past imaginal activity. You have assumed many things to be true, often unconsciously, and life has faithfully brought them to pass. But now you are being called to do it consciously, intentionally, to choose your inner assumptions with care and reverence, to no longer wait for the world to change, but to change the world by changing yourself. The outer world is slow to respond only because it is the shadow. The cause is always within. And the moment you change your inner conversation, the moment you lift your assumptions to match your desire, a new pattern begins to form. A new future is conceived. And though it may not appear instantly, rest assured, it is already on its way. The seed planted in imagination must bear fruit in the physical. Such is the law. So, choose wisely what you accept as true. Do not base your belief on appearances. Base it on what you desire to see. Live as though it were already true within, and soon the world will bow to your inner command. For imagination is not only the beginning, it is everything. The key step is assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Not hoping, not wishing, but living from the end as though it is already yours. This step, though simple in expression, holds the entire mystery of creation. It is the dividing line between dreaming of a different life and actually entering into it. To assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled is to mentally and emotionally occupy the state you desire, not as something that will happen, but as something that already has. Most people spend their lives hoping for change. They speak of the future as something separate and distant. They say, one day I'll be happy, or I hope things get better. But hoping is not creating. Hoping leaves you in a state of lack, constantly reaffirming the absence of the very thing you want. When you hope, you declare that what you want is not yet here. And as long as you continue to believe that it is not here, it will remain out of reach. The world cannot deliver to you what you have not already accepted within yourself. But to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled is to break this cycle. It is to step into the end result mentally and emotionally before any evidence has shown up. It is to claim something as yours even while the outer world insists it is not. And that is where the power lies. The world is not moved by your needs. It is not changed by your complaints or your desperation. It responds only to the vibration of your inner state. And when your inner state is one of fulfillment, the world must mirror it. This is not pretending. Pretending still knows it is false. It is not acting for show. It is the inward acceptance, the deep inner knowing that says, it is done. This is the only true faith. The kind that does not beg for proof because it has already received what it asked for in consciousness. When you live from the end, you feel the joy now. You walk as the version of yourself who already has. You speak, decide, and respond not as someone on their way to the goal, but as one who has already arrived. To do this requires discipline. It requires a refusal to be led by appearances. The moment you assume the wish fulfilled, the outer world may look unchanged. It may even present the opposite. But this is only the residue of old beliefs fading away. If you persist in the feeling of your desire fulfilled, the world must conform. It cannot do otherwise, because it is under the authority of your inner assumption. What does it feel like to have what you desire? That is the question you must answer. If you desire love, ask yourself, how would I feel if I were deeply loved right now? If you desire wealth, ask, what emotions would I carry if I already had financial freedom? Then carry those emotions within you, not just in meditation, not just for a moment, but throughout your day. Return to the feeling whenever you can. Lie from it, move from it, rest in it. As you do, your inner world changes, and when your inner world changes, the outer must follow. It may come through unexpected paths. It may unfold quietly or dramatically, but unfold it must, for consciousness is the only true reality. The feeling of the wish fulfilled is not just a technique. It is alignment with your higher self. It is the way your soul communicates with creation. There is nothing more to wait for. You do not need to earn it, prove yourself, or seek permission. You only need to assume it is done. The moment you do, you shift timelines. You step out of longing and into being. And once you are, the world begins to match your being. This is how all transformation happens. Not through force, but through assumption. So take this key step. Assume the feeling. Live from the end and watch everything else fall into place. Your current reality is only a reflection of past assumptions. Change your assumptions and your future must rearrange itself to match. There is no other way. Life is not reacting to what you consciously want. It is responding to what you have already accepted as true. Whether you are aware of it or not, you are always assuming something. And those assumptions form the foundation of your experiences. Look around you. Everything you are living today, the people in your life, the circumstances you face, the conditions you call reality, is the harvest of what you once assumed. You may not remember the moment you accepted a belief as true, but it happened. Maybe you were told you were not good enough and you believed it. Maybe you experienced lack and you assumed it would always be that way. Whatever the case, the assumptions you held planted seeds, and life, without judgment or delay, grew them into form. You see, the world is not trying to punish or reward you, it is simply reflecting. It is a mirror, faithful and neutral. It shows you the contents of your inner state, and the mistake most people make is trying to fix the reflection instead of changing the image in the mirror. They rearrange circumstances, move to new places, start over again and again, hoping for change. But if the assumptions remain the same, the pattern continues. This is why you must go within. If you want to change your life, you must first change your assumptions about who you are and what is possible for you. Not with force, not with anxiety, but with certainty. Quiet, still, deep certainty that you are already the person who has the life you desire. When you do this, you create from the inside out. The beauty is that you do not need to fight the present. You do not need to battle against what is. Your current situation may appear fixed, but it is not permanent. It is fluid, and it is waiting for a new instruction from you. When you change your assumptions, your world receives the message, and it begins subtly or suddenly to reshape itself. What does this look like in practice? Let's say you have assumed for years that relationships are difficult, that you're not chosen, that love is something you chase but never keep. That assumption, repeated and felt, has become your reality. But the moment you decide to no longer accept that as true, when you begin to feel and believe, even quietly, that you are worthy of deep, safe, lasting love, the world begins to shift. Not because you forced it, but because you no longer live in alignment with the old story. This shift in assumption is powerful because it changes your state of being. You no longer speak the same, carry yourself the same, or react the same way. You are no longer desperate or proving. You simply are, and the world recognizes this change. People respond differently. New opportunities emerge. Life bends to match the new belief you carry. But you must be consistent. The old assumptions may try to reassert themselves through doubt, fear, or past evidence. That is their last breath. Do not revive them. Instead, return to your new assumption. Live in it. Dwell in the end result. Feel it as real. Speak from it. Think from it not as a future event, but as your current state. And in doing so, you teach the subconscious a new truth, one that it will faithfully express. You are not stuck, you are not cursed, you are not limited by anything except the assumptions you refuse to change. And the moment you do, fully, truly, inwardly, the world must rearrange. It always does, for consciousness is the only cause. An assumption is its language. So change what you assume, and you change everything. You are not a victim of circumstances, you are the operant power. You do not have to wait for permission. Your belief is the only authority you need. The moment you recognize this, you are free. free from the illusion that the world is acting upon you, free from the lie that life happens to you rather than through you. The truth is, everything you see, everything you touch, and everything you experience is the outpicturing of your inner state. And the moment you change within, the outer must reflect that change. You were never meant to be at the mercy of circumstances. Circumstances are not creators. They are the results of creation. They do not have power of their own. They are shadows cast by your thoughts, your beliefs, your assumptions. And a shadow cannot move unless the source of light shifts. You are that light. You are here to beg for change. You are here to cause it. Most people live under the false idea that something outside of them must shift before they can feel better, be better, live better. They wait for someone to choose them, approve of them, give them the green light to move forward. But creation does not wait. It follows belief. It moves in response to the one who knows who they are and stands in the authority of that knowing. You need no one's permission. You need only to believe, and believe fully, that you already are the person you wish to be. When you assume that your desire is already yours, you are exercising your creative power. You are no longer reacting to life, you are directing it. This is not arrogance, it is alignment. It is understanding that your belief is the cause, not the effect. And once you embody this truth, everything begins to conform. Do not look at your present condition and say, I cannot change because this is what is. That is the language of the disempowered. Instead, say to yourself, this is what was, but I have chosen something new. And the moment you choose a new state of being and persist in it, the world around you will begin to shift. It must. Because you are the operant power. Even now, your life is responding to the ideas you hold to be true. If you believe money is hard to come by, life will mirror that. If you believe love is rare, life will reflect that back. But if you believe you are abundant, loved, chosen, and worthy, without needing proof first, then reality bends. This bending may be subtle or it may be swift, but it will happen. The only question is whether you will remain faithful to your chosen state. Your work is to refuse the lie of powerlessness, to stop surrendering to what appears and start declaring what is in your inner world. Your belief is the law. It is the foundation upon which all experience is built. Not partial belief, not belief tainted with doubt, but belief that rests in certainty, even in the absence of evidence. When you carry this kind of belief, doors open, people change, circumstances rearrange, not because they decided to, but because you did. You are not waiting for the world to align, you are causing it to align. And when you know this, you rise. You stop asking for signs. You stop seeking outside validation. You move, speak, and feel from the state of your desire already fulfilled. You recognize that life has no choice but to respond to the script you are now writing in your imagination. You are the operant power, no one else. No condition, no person, no past has greater authority than your present assumption. So assume wisely, assume powerfully, and assume persistently, because your belief is not a wish, it is a command. Sustained inner attention is the secret. What you consistently dwell on becomes the world you walk in. This is not merely poetic, it is the mechanism of creation itself. Your outer life is not happening by chance or luck or divine favoritism. It is the exact reflection of your inner dwelling place. Wherever your mind rests, whatever thoughts you return to again and again, those impressions take root in the subconscious, and the subconscious faithfully expresses them in the world you experience. It is not enough to wish for a better life once in a while. It is not enough to say an affirmation a few times and then return to worry, doubt, and old patterns. Creation does not respond to occasional focus. It responds to sustained attention, repeated feeling, consistent inner conversation. You must live inwardly in the reality of your desire long enough for it to become the only truth your subconscious knows. When you do this, it must appear. Your attention is not a passive thing. It is the most powerful tool you possess. Where you direct it, you give life. Where you withdraw it, you allow dissolution. If you constantly entertain thoughts of lack, limitation, or fear, you are giving them the fuel they need to grow. You may not want those things, but by thinking of them continually, you are consenting to them. The mind does not respond to what you say you want. It responds to what you persistently feel and focus upon. This is why you must learn to discipline your inner world, not with strain, but with awareness. Begin to notice where your attention goes when you are not directing it. Does it wander to worry? Does it dwell in scenarios that you do not wish to live? If so, gently redirect it, take it back, bring it home to the place where your desire is already real. Because imagination is not pretending, it is creation. Sustained attention to your desired state is not about effort, it is about saturation. When you saturate your inner world with the feeling of your wish fulfilled, everything in your outer world starts to reconfigure. People, places, and opportunities shift to match the inner world you have faithfully built. And it is not your job to know how. It is only your role to remain inwardly aligned with the end you have chosen. Let's say you want to experience financial abundance. It is not enough to say, I am abundant, and then check your bank account every hour in fear. That is split attention. That is a divided mind. Instead, sustain your inner attention on what it would feel like to already be free. Walk in that inner freedom. Carry yourself as someone who no longer worries. Speak and think as someone who has arrived. And as you do, the world will adjust, not because of effort, but because of assumption made real through sustained focus. This applies to every area of your life: love, health, purpose. It all begins in the place where you choose to dwell mentally. If you live there long enough, the door will open in your external world, and you will walk right into what you imagine. The great secret is not trying harder, it is remaining faithful longer, holding your inner attention steady when the world tempts you to look away, keeping your gaze fixed inward when outer circumstances contradict your desire. That is faith. That is the bridge between the unseen and the seen. So return again and again to the feeling of your desire fulfilled. Make it your dwelling place. Let it become your inner home. And then watch quietly, confidently, as the world conforms to the image you refuse to release. Sustained inner attention is the secret, because what you consistently dwell on does not stay in the mind. It becomes the life you live. Faith is loyalty to the unseen reality. It is the ability to remain steadfast in your conviction, even when the outer world gives you no reason to believe. This is not blind optimism, nor is it naive wishing. True faith is a conscious choice, a quiet, unwavering decision to believe in the unseen because you know it already exists in the invisible realm. You are not hoping for it. You are loyal to it. You are devoted to it, and in that devotion, creation takes shape. Your senses may scream otherwise. The facts of the world may tell you it's impossible, but faith does not ask for evidence. It provides the evidence. Faith knows something deeper than appearances. It knows that every visible thing was once invisible. Everything that is now seen first lived in someone's unseen world. Therefore, when you choose to remain loyal to your inner conviction, you are aligning with the very law that governs manifestation. The reason most people do not experience what they desire is not because they asked for the wrong thing, but because they abandoned the feeling too soon. They asked, then watched the world, and when it didn't shift immediately, they doubted. They looked at their bank account, their relationship status, their circumstances, and they let the outer world tell them who they were. But faith does not bow to appearances. Faith speaks even when the world is silent. Faith sees when there is nothing visible. Faith knows that the unseen is more real than the seen, because the seen is always changing, but the unseen, once believed in, brings about lasting transformation. When you remain faithful to the unseen, the scene begins to shift in your favor. It must. The world cannot help but reflect the inner state you have fused with. And this is the mystery. You are not waiting for something to happen. You are not looking for signs to confirm what is true. You are causing it to happen by your loyalty to the invisible. It is easy to be loyal when things are going well, but real faith is measured when nothing seems to move, when the phone doesn't ring, when the opportunity hasn't come, when the door appears closed. That is when faith shines. That is when you decide, even though I do not see it yet, I know it is mine. And in that knowing, mountains move silently, circumstances rearrange beneath the surface, people are shifted into place, hearts are cleared. Do not let the outer world shake you. Do not let temporary delays convince you that your desire is denied. It is never denied. It is only waiting for your full alignment. Your faith is the bridge between imagination and reality. It is the steady hand that holds the vision when all else trembles. You are not at the mercy of life. Life responds to you. You are the operant power. Decide what you want, live from it within, and let the world catch up. This is not about forcing, chasing, or striving. It is about knowing, feeling, and allowing. Let your sustained attention dwell only where you desire to live. Let your faith be firm. Let your imagination lead. Everything is already yours in the unseen. All that's required is that you claim it inwardly and refuse to be moved. That is how everything changes. By taking this one key step. Thank you for listening, and may you walk forward not with effort but with assurance, knowing the power is within you. Close your eyes for a moment and remember the last time something extraordinary happened to you. Not something you begged for, but something that seemed to arrive just in time. That was not chance. That was your own unseen power revealing itself, the law of assumption at work. You are not separate from your desires. They are already yours. The only separation is in your thinking, your doubting, your waiting. The moment you act as if the miracle is already yours, you collapse the distance between the wish and the world. Do not wait for a sign. Become the sign. Walk like someone whose prayers are already answered. Speak with the calm confidence of one who has received. Think like someone who has no reason to worry. You are not hoping for miracles. You are made of the same substance that creates them. If you want love, become the one who is already cherished. If you want abundance, embody the energy of ease, generosity, and security. If you want healing, live in the state of the healed, not the hurting. The secret is simple. You do not attract miracles, you match them. You do not chase them, you become them. You do not ask repeatedly, you receive internally and let the world adjust. The greatest power you will ever wield is this: your ability to assume a reality so completely that life has no choice but to conform to your inner conviction. So today, walk as the miracle, dress as the miracle, speak as the miracle, think as the miracle, because once you decide you are a magnet to miracles, they cannot help but find you. Imagination is not a mere daydream or fleeting thought. It is the very fabric of creation, the silent sculptor of reality. When you close your eyes and dare to see yourself beyond what is now, you are not escaping, you are planting the seeds of transformation. Everything you experience externally was once first imagined internally, whether consciously or unconsciously, and this is the truth most people miss. Your imagination is the magnetism of the soul. It draws into your life not what you want desperately, but what you consistently imagine to be true. The world around you responds not to the physical effort alone, but to the image you habitually carry within. A man can toil day and night, but if in the quiet of his own mind he still sees himself as a failure, as unworthy or unlucky, then his results will mirror that inner picture. The law is precise. What you assume to be true, you live out. Life does not respond to wishful thinking. It responds to the state you occupy within yourself. Imagination is the bridge between where you are and where you long to be. It is your permission slip to enter a new reality before the facts rearrange. You see, the soul does not live in linear time. It dwells in eternity. So when you imagine something with feeling, with vivid detail, and remain faithful to that image, the soul sends out its quiet vibration into the unseen. The outer world is clay, but the imagination is the potter. It molds circumstances, shifts events, and reconfigures situations according to the belief you hold inside. That belief is not what you say once in a while, it is what you see again and again when no one is watching. The image you hold when your head touches the pillow. The tone of voice in your self-talk. The quiet assumptions that run your inner dialogue. Those are the commands you give to life. And here's the miracle. You can change the image at any moment. You can withdraw from the habitual picture of struggle or lack and choose to dwell in the reality of peace, abundance, or love. But you must do it with conviction. Half-hearted imagining produces scattered results. But when you dwell so deeply in a new image that it begins to feel like home, then it becomes your truth and the world begins to conform. You don't need to figure out how it will happen. That's not your role. Your work is the inner vision. The consistency of returning to the new image even when outer facts scream otherwise. Because the world is slow to catch up to the imaginal act. But it must catch up. It cannot resist the pull of one who is magnetized by their own belief. So if you want to shift your life, do not start with action, start with vision. Rehearse your miracle until it becomes familiar. Speak from the place where it has already occurred. Walk in the world as one who has already received. Let the image be so alive within you that you no longer look for proof, because you are the proof. The soul's magnetism is quiet, subtle, invisible, but it is unstoppable. The world bends not to force, not to begging, not to fear, but to the inner image you consistently hold. Guard that image. Nourish it. Believe in it, because your imagination is not pretending. It is the beginning. It is the blueprint of your future. There is a hidden doorway between what you hope for and what you experience. And that doorway is feeling. Not just any feeling, but the kind that is rich with certainty, alive with emotion, and full of conviction. To imagine something is not enough. You must feel it real. You must let your entire being respond as though what you desire has already come to pass. That is the secret most overlooked. You are not waiting for a miracle to feel grateful, joyful, or free. You are required to feel those things first. That is how the miracle knows where to go. Feeling is the bridge between thought and reality. It is not just decoration to your imagination, it is the power that activates it. When you imagine yourself healed but continue to feel broken, you cancel the power of the vision. But when you feel within you the emotional certainty of wholeness, even before any evidence appears, you call that state into your world. Feeling is what convinces the subconscious that the desire is real, and once the subconscious accepts it, the world begins to rearrange. You must understand, emotion is not weakness. It is the most powerful instrument of manifestation. Thought without feeling is hollow, but thought clothed in emotion becomes magnetic. It draws experiences, people, and opportunities into your path in ways the logical mind cannot predict. The universe does not hear your words, it feels your state. And when you live from the feeling of already having, you are no longer asking, you are receiving. This is why you must not wait for outer facts to give you permission to feel joy. You must feel it now before any change, before any proof. And when you do, something begins to shift. You move from hoping to knowing, from wishing to expecting, from someday to now. The outer world may still look the same, but inside, You have stepped into a new state. And because the inner and outer must eventually align, the world will follow. Feeling it real is not pretending, it is not faking anything. It is entering into the state where your desired reality is already true and allowing your body, your breath, and your energy to respond to it. This is how you collapse time. This is how you live in the future before it arrives. And by doing so, you draw it closer. You become the one who already has, the one who already is. Let yourself feel it, not just once, but over and over until it becomes natural. Close your eyes and breathe as the version of you who already holds the miracle. How does it feel to be free, to be in love, to be abundant, to be chosen, supported, healed, and seen? Let that feeling flood your being. Let it be so real that you no longer wonder if it's coming. You know it has already arrived in the unseen. That feeling becomes your new home. And once you move into that emotional space, the world cannot help but bring you evidence of it. Life is not responding to what you want, it is responding to who you are being, what you are feeling, and the story you are emotionally living. So if you seek a miracle, go first into the feeling. Cultivate the emotion of fulfillment, not the ache of absence. Let joy precede the result. Let gratitude walk before the gift. Let peace replace the need for proof. And you will see what once felt far away will appear, drawn in by the silent power of your emotion. Feeling is the gateway. It is the access point to creation. It is the language of the soul and the signature of your belief. When you feel it real, you align with the miracle. And once you are aligned, there is nothing left to chase, only everything to receive. Most people spend their lives trying to attract what they want, chasing dreams, praying for miracles, working tirelessly, hoping that something from the outside will arrive and change their circumstances. But this is a misunderstanding of how creation works. You do not attract what you want, you become it. You become the version of yourself who already has it. And from that state of being, the world begins to mirror your inner transformation. You do not pull miracles to you as if they are separate. They are not distant. They are not outside. The moment you stop trying to reach for them and instead embody the state in which they are natural, they appear as if they had been waiting for your recognition all along. You see, miracles are not events. They are reflections. Reflections of the inner state you occupy consistently. If you believe you are blessed, supported, worthy, and whole, you will walk in a world that confirms that belief. It is not about wanting. Wanting is a state of lack. To want something implies you do not yet have it. But to become means you accept the reality now, before it manifests in the physical. And that is the key. When you become the version of yourself who lives among miracles, who expects the extraordinary, who walks with calm certainty, life responds. You don't need to strive. You don't need to beg. You only need to shift who you are being. This requires inner honesty. What do you really believe about yourself, about what is possible? If deep within you believe life is hard, or you are unlucky, or you are not enough, then you will see that played out again and again. Not because it's true, but because you have become that story. The world is not judging you, it is simply echoing you. You cannot trick life with positive words if they are not backed by your inner identity. You must become the one who is already blessed. When you shift your identity, everything else follows. Think of it like changing clothes. You don't become wealthy by chasing money. You become wealthy by embodying the mindset, the energy, the behaviors of one who lives in abundance. You don't become loved by searching for someone to fill the void. You become loved by loving yourself so deeply that you radiate the energy of being cherished. You do not become healed by fighting illness. You become healed by stepping into the wholeness that already exists within you. Becoming is not pretending, it is aligning. It is stepping into the truth that already lives within you, beyond fear and past memories. Every day you are becoming something. with every thought, with every feeling, with every word. The question is, are you becoming the version of yourself who lives in miracles, or the one who doubts them? You must live from the end, not towards it. If you were already the person who had everything you desire, how would you speak? How would you carry yourself? What choices would you make? Begin there. Because the more you embody that version, the less you have to wait. Life bends to who you are, not what you say you want. Miracles are drawn to the one who no longer waits for them. They surround the one who walks in the faith of already having received. You do not need to attract. You only need to become. And when you do, when you live as though the miracle is ordinary, as though the blessing is yours, not by chance, but by choice, by being, there is a quiet power in assumption, a force so subtle, most overlook it entirely, but it governs everything. The assumptions you hold about yourself, about life, about what is possible are the foundation of your reality. And when you assume that miracles are not rare, but natural, not distant, but present, you begin to live in a world that agrees. The shift is not dramatic. It is not loud. It is inward. A gentle yet firm acceptance that the extraordinary is your birthright. Most people are trained to expect struggle, to believe that good things take forever, that blessings are rare, that miracles are only for the chosen few. They may hope for more, but their core assumption is lack, delay, or difficulty. And so, that is what they experience. But the moment you assume that goodness is your natural state, that life wants to bless you, that joy belongs to you, everything begins to rearrange. This is not about false confidence or forced positivity. It is about a quiet knowing, a state where you no longer question if you're worthy. You simply know you are. Where you no longer wonder if things will work out. You assume they already are. You don't beg for the miracle. You dwell in the energy of someone for whom miracles are normal. And from that state, life softens, resistance fades. Doors open, not because you chased them, but because you aligned with them. Assumption is creative. It is not passive. It does not sit and wait. It declares and lives. To assume the miracle is your natural state is to no longer be surprised by goodness. It is to expect alignment. It is to know that solutions come, help arrives, answers unfold. Not because you force them, but because you are one with them, you have become someone for whom good things happen. This is a radical departure from the world's conditioning. You are taught to prepare for the worst, to lower expectations, to not get your hopes up. But all that does is cement a reality where miracles feel foreign. When you assume life is hard, life proves you right. When you assume blessings are rare, you hardly notice them. But shift the assumption, and everything changes. Begin each day with the quiet belief that things are working in your favor, that unseen forces are conspiring to bless you, that even delays have divine timing, that what is for you cannot miss you, not because you wish it, but because it is your normal. Let peace replace panic. Let calm expectation replace anxious striving. And life, feeling your new state, begins to rise to meet you. Assume the miracle is here, not on the way. Assume you are favored, not forgotten. Assume you are guided, not alone. The world outside may still echo your old assumptions for a while, but hold the new one with faith. The new belief will override the old pattern. You will see it in small things first, a coincidence, a compliment, a sense of ease. Then larger shifts, unexpected opportunities, surprising favor. And suddenly what you assumed becomes what you experience. You don't need proof to assume, you need courage. The courage to believe in something before it appears, to walk in faith, to carry the energy of already being blessed. Because when you carry that energy, the world mirrors it. Life becomes a reflection of the inner conviction that good things are not an exception, they are your essence. Stop asking if the miracle will happen. Assume it has. Let your tone, your posture, your thoughts reflect that truth. Speak from it, move from it, rest in it, because assumption, when felt deeply, becomes identity, and your identity shapes your world. The moment you assume it's normal for good things to happen to you, they begin to, because life always follows the lead of your belief. Every word you speak is a thread weaving the fabric of your reality. Every sentence carries a frequency, a vibration, an instruction to life. Most people don't realize they are constantly affirming lack with their language. They speak of what's missing, what hasn't arrived, what they fear, and then wonder why miracles feel so far away. But the secret is this: miracles arrive not to those who speak of absence, but to those who speak only from the end where their desire is already fulfilled. This is not about denial. It is not pretending that things don't feel hard. It is choosing not to give voice to what you don't want to expand. You do not feed your future by rehearsing your past. You do not become powerful by declaring weakness. Life responds not to your needs, but to your embodiment. And you embody what you consistently speak. So speak from the end, speak from the place where you already have the thing you once asked for, and the world will rush to match the image your words create. To speak from the end is to talk as if your miracle is already here. It is to align your conversation with the outcome, not the obstacle. It is to move your focus away from what's missing and onto what is unfolding. When you do this, your tone changes, your energy shifts. You begin to feel the reality of the thing you desire, and in feeling it, you draw it closer. This is not performance, this is truth. A deeper truth than circumstances can show, because everything starts in the unseen. The invisible realm of consciousness is where reality takes shape. And what you persist in assuming, feeling, and speaking becomes the visible. That is the law. Not a law of chance, but of alignment. You are creating the space in which the miracle must appear. Think about how you speak to yourself and others. Are you constantly explaining what isn't working? Are you defending your delay? Are you justifying your struggle? If so, you are reinforcing it. You're feeding the very condition you want to dissolve. But if instead you speak as if your prayer has been answered, even if only in your inner world, you shift the signal, you stop radiating need and start radiating possession. And life responds to possession. Talk like the doors are open. Talk like the blessing is unfolding. Talk like the love is already yours. Speak with the confidence of someone who has received the call, heard the yes, stepped into the promise. Not with arrogance, but with peace. With that quiet certainty that says, I've become. That is how miracles are welcomed. With open arms, not clenched fists. Language is creative power. It sculpts your internal landscape. And your internal landscape reflects back to you in the form of people, places, opportunities, and timing. So, take your words seriously. Speak with vision. Declare with purpose, even in private. Especially in private. Talk like you are already living the life you desire, because the inner talk creates the outer walk. Stop repeating what went wrong. Stop analyzing the delay. Stop explaining the lack. That's not your job. Your job is to align with the version of you that lives beyond all that. Your job is to speak from the end and trust that life knows how to catch up. Speak as if the miracle is old news. Familiar, expected, because when it arrives, that's exactly how it will feel. Not a surprise, but a return to what always belonged to you. Every time you speak, you are either calling in the life you want or pushing it further away, so choose wisely. Speak only from the end. Let your words be evidence of belief, not fear. Let your language reflect the life you're claiming, not the one you're trying to escape. Because miracles are not drawn to need, they are drawn to knowing. Speak like you already hold it. and soon you will. There comes a point where asking must give way to assuming, where praying turns into praising, where the question dissolves and only the answer remains. Most people live in the constant repetition of questions. When will it happen? How will it come? What if it never does? These questions, though honest, anchor the soul in doubt. And doubt delays. To live in the answer is to exit the loop of uncertainty. It is to stand in the place where your desire is already fulfilled and live from there. Because when you act as if your prayer is fulfilled, life rushes to prove you right. The question is rooted in absence. It assumes what you want is not yet here. And so long as you live from that state, hoping, reaching, waiting, you remain separate from the very thing you long for. But when you shift from asking to being, from wishing to embodying, you alter everything. The answer becomes your reality, not because it suddenly arrived, but because you finally stepped into alignment with it. This is not about pretending, it's about trusting. Trusting the unseen more than the seen, trusting the invisible bridge between your inner world and outer reality. You do not need to force the answer to arrive. You need only to live from it. Think like someone who has received it. Feel like someone who is already there. Speak like someone who knows they are held, provided for, guided. The energy you carry becomes the signal that calls the answer into form. When you live in the answer, you no longer entertain timelines or doubt. You're not anxiously scanning for signs. You're not performing rituals to speed things up. You're calm, anchored, still, because you know that what you seek is seeking you. You know that the seed is already planted and your only job is to nourish the soil through thought, feeling, and faith. The world around you might still look unchanged, but inside everything is different. And that inner change is the cause of outer transformation. You've moved from lack to fulfillment, from waiting to welcoming. Life has no choice but to echo that shift. To live in the answer is to embody gratitude before the gift. It's to walk in peace, even if circumstances say otherwise. It's to dress, speak, and move with the ease of someone whose prayer has been answered. You don't ask a second time. You don't beg, you assume the universe heard you the first time, and you live from that assurance. This is the posture of power, quiet, humble, certain. You are no longer pulled by the waves of doubt. You are no longer watching the clock. You are resting in the knowing. And the knowing is magnetic. It draws all things to itself. If you feel yourself slipping back into the question, the wondering, the worrying, gently return to the answer. See yourself having it. Feel the relief. Breathe into the peace. Let that be your new dwelling place, not a temporary visit. Because life doesn't give you what you plead for. It gives you what you are aligned with. Stop waiting for the answer to come knock on your door. You become the answer. You live it, feel it, speak from it. And the world rearranges to reflect it. The shift is subtle but seismic. You go from being a seeker to a receiver. From asking, will it come, to knowing it is done. Let today be the day you drop the question, not in frustration, but in faith. Walk as one who knows the path is already paved, the door already open, the miracle already yours. Live in the answer and watch as everything you've been waiting for begins to show up right on time. And so, beloved, the secret has never been in trying, begging, or striving, but in being. When you act as if you are a magnet to miracles, when you imagine boldly, feel it real, become the embodiment of your desires, assume your blessings as normal, speak only from the end, and live fully in the answer, life cannot help but respond in kind. The universe mirrors your inner conviction, not your outer effort. You are not separate from the miracles you seek. You are the environment through which they are born. Stop looking outside, return within, align with the version of you who already holds it all. From that sacred state, miracles are not a surprise, they are inevitable. Thank you for listening with your heart. Now, go live like it's already done, because it is.